Send me an angel. Send me an angel. Right now. Right now. Send me an angel. Send me an angel. Right now. Right now.
All right, we're back for another episode. This is Craptacular Revue. I'm Justin Hollinger,
And I'm Kevin Seiler.
and we got an interesting one today. I think it's a slasher movie from the '80s.
1987, I believe.
I think it was '88.
88? Okay.
It's a late '80s one. That much is certain. Which that might sound like we're splitting hairs, but there is very much a difference between
Yeah.
like early '80s and late '80s slasher movies. And this one definitely sends the message home. It's Last Slumber Party, which it's we'll get into that a little bit later. First things first, let's hit the beer that we're doing on this one. This one is Titan IPA by Great Divide Brewing Company.
Yes.
Your thoughts on it?
I feel like I'm drinking a forest. It's very, very piney.
Yeah, this is definitely a pine style one, and that it might be the most pine heavy one I've ever had of IPAs.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because like the alcohol content is about a 7.1, which by normal beer standards is pretty high up there. By craft beer standards, like it might just be past the line into imperial or
barely.
double territory. But yeah, it's not. It tastes a lot stronger than its alcohol content would suggest.
I'll agree with that.
It's fine.
It's not undrinkable. Like, I don't hate myself after every sip.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like very piney. Just want to leave one in my car as an air freshener, but that'll be for an awkward conversation if I get pulled over.
I just like I wish you would have just left it. It was like, I don't hate myself, but yeah. We open up and I'm already discombobulated because we both watched the same source material, the DVD release of it. It was a double feature with Terror at Tin Killer, which I think I'm going to be planning on using that as the bonus footage. And we get an opening point of view shot from the killer in a hospital.
Yeah.
With some really shit hair metal rock.
The band is called Fire Strike or First Strike or something. It's FIRSTRYKE. So I don't know if it's First Strike or Fire Strike or what. It's all one word, all caps. Whenever I
maybe it's First Strike.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, these 80s hair metal bands aren't really known for their cleverness. So
Nah. Well, they were nice when they were around, though. I mean, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
yeah.
Go ahead and enjoy that one. I was just pausing because I was taking a sip of beer.
I was just pausing because I was reflecting on my life and how I've gotten to this point.
We're making Cinderella references.
Always.
Yeah, so the first shot of the movie, we're introduced to something that'll keep on popping up throughout the movie, which is changes in the source material of this DVD transfer. Like, a good chunk of the movie seems like it's probably coming from film.
Yeah.
And then every now and then, with the opening scene being an example of this, we're getting shots that are clearly coming from a VHS source.
Yeah. This opening scene a lot of like the scenes that take place, as we'll get to later, like inside the stairwell and stuff in the house.
Yeah, in the upstairs hallway of the house. There's really no context given to that opening scene before we're sent to another scene with just some random girl in her bedroom putting on like makeup or brushing her hair or some shit, and then a guy with bug eyes in a doctor outfit.
Yeah.
With little
surgical mask.
Yeah, surgical mask. Just pops in the window, and we get our first of many killer peekaboos, as I like to call them. Cops show up, checking it out, and then that's when we get the title. And what? This shit has nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, none at all. And I can't tell if we're supposed to be able to understand what the cop is saying, because like
the music's so fucking loud.
The music's loud, and he's like mumbling into his walkie-talkie. Mm-hmm. Like I think I rewound through it like 2 or 3 times just to try and pick up what he said, and like the whole time it's just and like
105 to headquarters. We get the backup units over here. We try to crawl in the backyard. That one unit makes a pass around the backyard.
My head, horror. Okay. So then credits get done, and we go into the classroom on the last day of school.
Yeah.
Where Mr. Kata is teaching, and get introduced to some of the characters we're going to meet later. You got the girls, which are Linda, Chris, and Tracy, and they're all going to get together at Linda's house for a slumber party.
Yeah.
It's the title. And then you got the guys, which are Billy and Tommy, who are picking on the Screech in the classroom, science.
Yeah.
Which I gotta be honest with you, in this scene, it didn't really seem like they hated him.
They were just kind of...
They were just trying to get his attention. And I just remembered that they were just kind of like lobbing little balls of paper at him for what felt like for fucking ever. They're just like, science, hey, science, hey, science, hey, science. It just fucking goes on forever. So they finally call him over, and I guess the big amazing trick that he has was that he synchronized his watch with the school's clock so that he knew exactly what second the school year would be over. I should point out this moment, like, I can't really explain why this is, but it was starting around this moment that I felt like this movie is what... Like, if they ever made a film adaptation of any given Fear Street book, this is it.
Yeah.
It's amateur. It's surprisingly PG in its tone for a slasher movie, but it's still dealing with high school students.
Yeah.
It's just, it's got a weird feel right out the gate. Like, I should also point out, like, the fact that, like, it's very amateur, but then it's got that, it seems like it was shot on film.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident.
The majority of it, at least.
And it's pretty well produced on a technical level.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part...
There's nothing inherently wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like,
for the most part, the audio's pretty crisp and clear.
Yeah.
Very well lit. In fact, that's one of the characteristics that I was kind of noticed with the late 80s slashers. Much higher level of lighting. Mm-hmm. Than the earlier ones. I was kind of, when you look at the Friday the 13th, it's starting with part 6, everything's much more well lit than 5 and below. And that was pretty much right around the time that you got into the late 80s. So yeah, we get done with that scene. And then we get the 3 girls walking away from school talking about the slumber party. And at that point, I'm sure you might agree with me on this, especially since you just recently watched Halloween. This seemed to very much imitate an almost identical scene from Halloween.
Yeah.
Of, again, 3 girls walking away from school, planning the night.
Yeah.
It was a little, it was awfully similar. Nothing major happens here. The scene ends on a high note when they all, I think all but Linda, walk away off camera so we can focus on the random girl in the background who walks into frame realizes she's on camera and then backs out.
I missed that.
It's fantastic. So when we go back to the hospital to, I guess, try to tie in the very confusing opening scene with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And we're basically being told that there's a hospital, a mental institution patient that is about to get a lobotomy.
Who's resistant to Thorazine.
Yes.
Like they gave him a shot of Thorazine and it had no effect on
And
him.
he's just like, no. Don't want.
Give me something a little stronger, you pussy.
Come on, this ain't my first rodeo. We get the note that he's up for lobotomy superimposed over another shot of him doing the bug eyes effect
Yeah.
in the doctor outfit. So I guess this is that character.
That character also is the director.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
the director is playing the killer.
Yep.
The director, Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. I thought I had a pun. I was going to try to walk this way in, and I was like, I got nothing. Walk this way with me into the rest of the review.
Yeah.
Won't you? They discover that the killer has escaped
Yeah.
via a freeze frame of the hospital bed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if did you notice it's just a freeze frame
Yeah.
that they just linger on. They couldn't film the fucking empty bed.
Right.
So, okay, yeah, then the girls are on the phone planning out what they're going to do. And the scene ends with a shot of one of the girls hanging up the phone, casually walking over to her bed, laying on her bed, and then would just stare at her on her bed for 10 seconds
Yeah.
straight for no fucking reason.
I want to make note too, like this phone conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The redhead, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
I believe is the redhead's name. She loves to swear. Like she has a pretty nasty.
She's got a bit of a homophobe streak going on.
That too, like that. I was gonna make mention of that as well because in this conversation on the phone, we get the line "Don't be so queer."
Mm-hmm. And we get a few other
Yeah,
gay slurs throughout the movie.
yeah,
Yeah, it's I don't know you can't say it's like, oh, that's a late 80s thing. It's like this is just a thing in the group of people that made this movie.
yeah.
I don't think this is like a sign of the times. So then we cut back to outside the hospital. Shift just got over. Nurse goes to the bus stop
Yeah.
and sits next to a guy who's just fallen asleep on the bench.
Well, as she's walking, she's talking with another nurse who I think gets in a car or something. Like they split apart from each other, and the conversation is basically about hey, that one doctor's kind of cute, and
But he's married.
yeah, but
So?
their marriage isn't doing so well. Like, basically, the conversation amounts to, hey, you should go fuck that married doctor.
Yeah. Which it's such a shame because I don't want to feel so devoted to these characters
Yeah.
before they die. Why would you bring up the fact that they want to fuck a married person? Now I have sympathy for them.
Yeah.
They're such wonderful people. So
They
she's
will be missed.
yes. So she the one nurse, she sits on the bench next to the guy that's fallen asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I, despite the fact that I've seen this movie before, I forgot what happened. I thought he was going to be the killer and just got him like, whoop. And no. The killer was just sitting behind her the whole time.
Yeah.
And just popped his head up and slit her throat with a scalpel.
Yeah.
Which I hope you loved the special effect because you're going to see it a lot. It's
I,
not good.
I had remembered this scene incorrectly too, because like part of me thought that, oh, he's already dead, and she's gonna discover that he's dead.
I thought, yeah, that was an option. I thought him being the killer
Yeah.
was going to be an option. Neither ended up being the case. Killer just pops up, slits her throat, drags the body off,
Yeah.
and then the guy actually wakes up on the bench, and you realize he fucking slept through a murder 6 inches away from him. And then doesn't he get murdered?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. He gets the from behind throat slice.
Yeah.
The from behind Chris Benoit. That works on multiple levels.
There was no gym equipment in that scene. Ooh. I'm sure people are going to be offended by the Chris Benoit joke. It's like, it's been like 9 fucking years. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Benoit done that. So, then we get back to the girls. Slumber party has officially begun.
Mm-hmm.
It's in this scene that I start to notice, and notice throughout the entire movie, the redhead, Chris, seems to have a bit of a shiner going.
Yeah.
Got a bit of a black eye.
Yeah.
At first I thought maybe she's just got the droopy dog eye effect going on, but no, it's pretty much consistently just on the right eye.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. It's like, well, that's, that's unfortunate because I've got a thing for redheads. And it's like, well, I can't get too attracted to her because she clearly doesn't listen.
And there went the other half of the listeners.
Like to welcome the all-male demographic of the Craptacular Revue. There's not really, like, one thing I did notice in this scene, and it seems like it's just in this scene. Chris has a pseudo-Southern accent.
Yeah.
And it's only in, like, this one scene.
Tommy, you think you could quit lifting weights for 1 minute and answer the phone?
Like, I'm thinking they wanted the character to have a Southern accent, and then she started trying it, and they're like, that's fucking garbage. We're not doing that again.
I'm almost wondering if that's, like, maybe this isn't kind of some of the stuff they shot first, and then he's just like, okay, dial back the accent. Because it's shot in Louisiana. I'm assuming that's where all the actors and actresses are from.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that was maybe just not part of her natural way of talking, and then, you know, Aerosmith frontman's just like, dial it back a little bit.
If you think that's a good accent, you can dream on.
There we go.
Got one in. I'll try to work another one in.
I got a couple that I'm going to try and piece together.
So, yeah, I noticed her accent here. It sounds like a weird mashup of Southern and, like, Cockney English.
Yeah.
And this is also where we get the news flash of the escaped mental patient, which, again, is just a shot of a freeze frame that they superimposed the news flash video onto a TV screen.
Yeah.
Then we go back to the boys of the movie. They're hanging out in front of a gas station because they couldn't get permission to shoot inside the gas station.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the beers that they're going to get that they never get. And bump into Linda's father, who's a doctor at the hospital.
Yeah, he's the one who was treating the lobotomy patient.
Which we saw him in the earlier scene.
Yeah, he was
just
talking
leaving there.
Yeah.
He had the night shift. They also bump into Science. It's awfully unusual how so many characters in this movie are wearing scrubs.
Yeah.
As I'm thinking about it, they just see Science getting onto his bike, and despite the fact that they were so chummy with him in school, they're like, "Hey, faggot!" And it's just
But like one of them throws a beer can at him, and
like, this is uncalled for. What? I did notice that in the middle of the scene, at one point, one of them just flat out, like, it wasn't even a burp. It was a verp.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
We were just talking about Linda. Scott here feels
very guttural.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're totally not going to get pulled over. And then we go back to the slumber party again.
Yeah.
Where now the boys have showed up. They've climbed inside the ladder. Despite the fact that the girls were staring at the ladder in the window for like 10 seconds straight, they're still very startled when someone shows up on the ladder. we get back to the slumber party, and they come in, and I remember, if I remember correctly, I think it was Tommy who kind of struggles getting off the ladder and through the window, and Chris just comes over to him, and she's like kind of saying, he's like, "Oh, did you rip your Calvins?" And he just immediately responds with, "Fuck you, whore!"
Oh, what's the matter, Tommy? Did you rip your Calvin?
Fuck you, whore.
Well, the reason his pants got ripped is because we see a shot of the killer reaching up with the scalpel.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly didn't think that, because it seemed pretty obvious to me in that shot that he didn't make contact.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I just assumed he just coincidentally happened to get his pant cuff caught on the ladder or in the window frame.
Yeah.
Maybe they got like a loose nail. Everyone gets settled in, and then Chris and Tommy go back to the bedroom, which is very presumptuous of them,
Yeah.
seeing how this is not Chris's house.
Yeah. I want to actually make mention of that. Like, we see a lot more of Chris on screen, and I would even say we see more of the blonde on screen,
Tracy,
than we do of Linda, and it's Linda's house that they're in. Linda the whole time seems kind of like...
She's in the background.
Yeah, you guys do whatever, I'm gonna be mopey.
In a way, this movie's pretty spot on, because, like, you think about it, your normal slasher, Linda would be the main character.
Yeah.
She's kind of the virgin of the group. She would be the final girl.
Right.
In this movie, she's being treated in a much more realistic way,
Yeah.
which is she's the friend that's barely a friend.
Yeah.
And she has to provide things to the group
Yeah.
to warrant being a friend. Here, you can have a party at my place.
Yeah.
And so, but she's still moped because she realizes she's barely in the group.
Yeah. And then the other two, Chris and Tracy, are
They're
under the mindset
legitimately
of
popular
yeah,
girls.
and they're under the mindset of it's like, oh, cool, it's not our house, so we
Yeah.
can do whatever the fuck we want.
And let's face it, they are appropriately the two more popular girls,
Yeah.
because they are the two more attractive girls.
Correct.
That's how high school works, people. You
Yeah.
got a problem with that. You take it up with society. You don't take it up with me. So, Chris and Tommy are in the bedroom,
Yeah.
and I literally, it hasn't been even 24 hours since I watched this movie, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember where the fuck Chris goes.
Well, they come in and they're saying something about Linda, like, yeah, Linda seems down or something along those lines, and they're like, yeah, and then they like immediately stop after one sentence and then just start making out, and then they're like, yeah, she's kind of whatever. Yeah.
Sucks for her.
Yeah, yeah, and then they suck face for about a second and a half, and
Suck
like,
my tongue or you get another black eye.
well, like she like bites his tongue or something because he's like,
Oh, yeah.
ow, yeah.
Oh, maybe this is all just like part of their thing, man.
Yeah.
They like being really physical. You
Yeah.
know? She bites his tongue. He punches her in the face. Calls her a whore.
Relationship
Yes.
stuff, you know? Just relationship things. And then she says to like, wait here for him, and she goes in to take a shower while he lays down on the bed, if I remember right.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, she did take the shower, and he lays down, and it's like it's the most mild death I think I've ever seen in a slasher movie. He's just kind of laying there for a while, and with like no fucking fanfare from the music or anything. It's just like, whoop,
Yeah.
scalpel slice.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, you get the scalpel slice, and then you follow that by like cutting back and forth between non-revealing shots of her in the shower.
Disappointing.
And then, agreed. And then very slow, like, point of view lurking shots, like the camera like peeking around the door into the bathroom or
And
going
seeing
into
the
the
very
bathroom.
fogged over door of the shower. Yeah. It's like then she comes out, she's trying to find him, and then we get another example of her homophobia, where she's looking in the closet for him, which she takes a shockingly long amount of time to do.
Yeah. And stands there with the closet door
Yeah.
open, like,
And she
are
yells-
you in here?
Yeah,
Is
she
your
yells-
corpse gonna pop out?
She yells out, "Okay, queer bait, isn't it time you came out of the closet?" And it's like, okay, credit where credit's due. That was clever.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, queer bait, isn't it time you came out of the closet?
Maybe get rid of the bait. Just go with queer.
Yeah.
Chris comes downstairs, bitches and moans to them, and we get homophobia number 3. He's such a homo, he took the bedspread.
Yeah.
Which seconds later is followed by just one of them going, "Faggot."
Yeah. Come on, you faggot.
Tommy? Tommy? Come on, you faggot. This isn't funny anymore.
So after all that, okay, now we are on to round 2 of someone getting killed in this group.
Yeah.
And round 2 is going to play exactly as round 1 did. Another couple goes into, I think, even the same fucking
Same bedroom.
And the same fucking thing happens.
Yeah.
The girl goes into the bathroom and the guy gets killed. However,
Now's the twist.
this time around, there is also a twist, and it is so much more entertaining. I think I'm actually just going to splice the scene into the review.
Yeah.
Because we won't be able to do it justice.
Yeah.
But here I go.
Again on my own.
Yes.
That's not Aerosmith.
Guys coming up the ladder again. This round of boyfriend, Billy, goes to the ladder, and at the time we don't know this, but we later find out that it's Science that's coming up the ladder.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And Billy's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were part of this. Well, come on up." So it's like, at that point, it's like, what the fuck is the relationship with Science and these group of guys? Like, they're buddy in the classroom. See him at the gas station, like, "Hey, faggot," and throwing beers at him. And then he's like joining in with the party, and it's like, "Oh, come on up."
Yeah.
But it's at this point when he's being welcomed into the group that we get the twist that now Science is killer number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that he wasn't the doctor-dressed killer before, because immediately after Science slashes the face of Billy, we cut to
The greatest reaction gift of all time.
we cut to the original killer popping his head up from behind the bed, just with the bug eyes, like, "Huh? What's going on there?"
And the loud musical cue
Yes.
just...
Oh, hopeless.
And then we cut back for a split second to the slashed face, and then we cut back to Tracy in the
Yeah,
bathroom.
well, like,
"Oh, shit."
it cuts from the bug-eyed reaction to Tracy in the bathroom to Billy, like spitting out blood
Yeah.
and gurgling, back to the killer, back to Tracy in the bathroom. So it's like going around
I thought
in
it
circles.
was, like, I could have sworn it was, okay,
We get 2
face
shots
slashed.
of Billy in the bath.
face slashed.
Yeah.
We linger on that for just a second, and then we go to the killer.
Yeah.
Then we get the music sting with that. And then we come back to the face slash where we get like an amped up musical cue that's immediately cut off as we cut to Tracy in the bathroom going through her compact. She's like, "Oh shit," and then cut back.
See, I think it cuts to Tracy first, like after the killer pops up and, bug-eyed.
Okay.
And then I believe it cuts to Tracy for just like a split second, and then cuts to Billy. Is that the one?
Yeah, Billy's the one being
I don't
killed.
give a shit about any of these people's names.
Tommy
except
was the
for
first
Chris.
one that got killed. Billy's the one being killed right now. Scott is the one that they were setting up with Linda.
Okay. But yeah, it cuts from killer to Tracy to Billy,
Okay.
back to killer, back to Tracy.
So then we get all that. There's all of that shit. And then we get the I was going to say spoiler alert, but it's like, well, the other spoiler is going to be coming around the bend in like 10 minutes, so fuck it. Then we get the first dream sequence, which has no impact whatsoever because we know from the word go that it's a fucking dream sequence. They did the little Wayne's World sort of thing on the clock. Why the clock? I don't know. And it's just Chris the next morning, and she's seeing the dead bodies of the people she doesn't know are dead. Mm-hmm. And then she starts seeing the dead bodies of people who are not dead at the moment in the movie, which kind of gives everything away. That was fucking stupid. What the fuck? Like, she sees the dead bodies of Tommy and Billy. Okay. Yeah. That's still weird because she has no idea that anyone is dead. And then she sees the dead bodies of Linda and Tracy, and it's like, they're not fucking dead yet, you stupid movie. Jesus Christ. And then, like, just kind of regular nightmare bullshit like that. And then she wakes up. I remember at one point she goes into the kitchen going through a purse, and we get a voiceover of her saying, God, I need a fucking Valium.
God, I need a fucking Valium.
So she goes and wakes up the girls. And apparently the girls are just sleeping in the same bed together. Yeah. No one brought sleeping bags or anything. I don't know if, like, that's unusual in the girl world.
I don't know.
Because it's a little unusual in the guy world. Guys aren't having slumber parties like, let's all jump in the same bed together and sleep.
all the female slumber parties I've spied on, they usually have the curtains closed by then. So
guys aren't like, let's all get in the same bed and sleep together. And then maybe our pajama bottoms come off and something happens.
just gonna. Fuck it, I give up. Just gonna fall asleep in our bathrobes and see if anything develops. You know?
Now I have in my head the McPoyle twins from Sunny Philadelphia.
I have Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan's, like, air supply bit that they did on Saturday Night Live.
We will not be returning to storytellers. All right, everybody, let's take our pants off and go to bed. So, that scene ends with Linda and Tracy going downstairs to eat.
Let's go munch out is the exact
Pig out.
line. No, it's munch out.
Are you certain?
They say munch out and I think pig out. Because
I was going to say, because I wrote down pig out.
I know they say munch out at least twice.
Well, now I'm very disappointed that I did not write down munch out because that's much more telling.
I think what it is when they're talking to each other, Chris and Tracy, they say, let's go munch out, and then they tell Linda, hey, we're going to go pig out. I think that's how the conversation.
Well, no, Linda is one of the. I thought it was Linda that was one. I thought Chris was the one that stayed behind, and it was Linda and Tracy that went to pig munch.
Let's go munch out.
Hey, Linda, we're going to pig out.
So they go downstairs to pig out, and I don't think we actually ever see them pig out, but we do see. Again, I can't remember which fucking one does this, but one of them turns on the TV and we get just like 10 seconds of a non-existent zombie movie that they're watching on TV. And in those 10 seconds, I thought this would be a better movie. That's not right. Why would you show a clip of a better movie in your bad movie? Especially one that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
I did notice in the scene after that, we go back upstairs and I can't. Again, less than 24 hours. I can't remember where everyone is at this moment.
Yeah,
someone's laying in the bed, and the camera pans over, and Science is laying on the floor next to the bed, and he pulls the scalpel out of his little scrubs pocket.
Yep.
And then they cut to him standing up and again grabbing the scalpel out of his scrubs pocket. Because there's no continuity girl here.
Yeah.
I think that's the old-timey term, continuity girl. I don't know what, the 50s. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And then the killer comes up behind him and slits his throat.
Yeah.
Because I guess there's a fake wall behind Science there. Where the fuck was the killer?
Yeah.
Between Science and the wall was nothing.
He was in the bedside drawer just...
So yeah, so the incredibly pointless plot point of having two killers is done now.
Yeah. After he killed one person.
Yeah. There's no fucking point.
Yeah.
I guess the one kill was just a response to the hate crime at the gas station.
They could have cut his character out entirely, and the movie would have made more sense, honestly.
Not entirely. I would say, honestly, like if they just removed Science's death and then the reaction shot of the doctor after Science first slashes Billy's face, if they just removed those two things, then the second killer plot point would never exist. That's it. Then you would just assume that the killer that came up the ladder was the original killer because they're both wearing scrubs.
Yeah.
And then we would never seen the death of Science, so we would at that point it would just be that Science was a red herring.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we've been told from day one who the killer is.
Yeah.
This movie's stupid enough where they would have put a red herring in after they announced who the killer is. We get Linda's father, Dr. Sickler, calling up the wife to tell her that killer escaped.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Shortly thereafter, she's killed.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to the big ramp up of any given slasher. The final girl finding all the bodies.
Yep.
So she finds... which, by the way, as I'm about ready to go into this, I just now realized how fucked up this is. The main character here is Chris. At this point. That's been established for a decent amount of time in the movie.
Yeah.
Secondary characters are Linda and Tracy, whose deaths occur off screen.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Why would you have character number 2 and character number 3's deaths occur off screen? Those should be the big ones.
Yeah.
And they don't do fucking anything. Like, we see him grab Tracy and about to kill her, but we don't see the kill.
Yeah, it cuts away.
Yeah. So, Chris finds her way downstairs, pops her head out like the backyard door. Linda comes around the corner, barely hanging on to life, and essentially just dies in front of her. And Chris reasonably responds with, "I'm not going to flee the house.
Yeah.
I am going to slowly and calmly close the door leading outside
Yeah.
and wander around inside for a little while."
Yeah. Yeah, just doesn't
After I
seem...
just saw one of my best friends die in front of me.
Yeah, she's very calmly and no hurry whatsoever, just paces around the house.
Yeah. And does so for quite a while. At one point, Linda even shows back up. Apparently she didn't die right then and there. But now she dies by walking up to Chris and going, "Chris, get help." Then she dies, and then Chris doesn't get help. What the fuck? They just told you the most logical thing to do.
Yeah.
Get help. And you just pick up a knife and slowly walk
in a
around.
minute.
And then she does exactly what Science does, which is kill one person in the movie.
Yeah.
She mistakes Scott, who was going to be set up with Linda, as the killer by like popping around the corner, stab, oops, and then moving on. Lights go out, and then we get the final confrontation between the killer and the final girl, and it's so fucking anticlimactic. There's just a big nothingness there. And it may sound like I'm rushing through that. There's a reason, because there's shit after it. That's not the end of the movie, as the movie would suggest. Mostly because we're only at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
I'm not joking here. This is like the fucking 1 hour mark of the movie.
I mean, the movie's only an hour, 10 minutes long.
Again, which is really weird.
Yeah.
She wakes up the next morning, and she's kind of just wandering around the house casually. Again, Chris is the type of person that can witness one of her friends die in front of her. She can find another one of her friends' corpses. She can kill one person accidentally. She can kill another person on purpose.
Yeah.
Because they killed her friends. She can find a couple other different corpses. And then she's plumb tuckered out and she passes out.
I'll deal with that in the AM.
Woo!
Right now, Snoozeville.
Yawn. So she wakes up the next morning and very slowly is just kind of making her way throughout the house. Again, why she just doesn't get the fuck out or something, I don't know. Beyond me.
Yeah.
I think this is also when we get a thing back at the hospital.
Yeah.
Where Dr. Sickler is still. Where we see that apparently the killer is there now, despite having been killed the night before at the house. And he kills Sickler
Yeah.
in an elevator, which is weird because given the director, you would assume there'd be love in an elevator. There's a second reference! Worth it! Moving on. So,
All right.
back at the house. Chris somehow finds Dr. Sickler's body in the pool
Yeah.
because what we were not told beforehand was that the killer has such amazing upper body strength that he can throw a limp corpse across town and with such accuracy that it'll land in a pool.
Now, do
With
you
very
think
little splash. He can arc that fucker.
Do you think he like spiral like quarterback Hail Mary throws it, or do you think he spin around like discus throws?
I'm actually going to go with option number 3. I'm guessing that he basically grabbed the body by the ankles and then just kind of like when you see someone throw an axe when they wind up behind their head.
Okay.
And it just spins.
Like the goalie throwing the soccer ball inbounds from out of bounds. Type
Yes.
thing.
But,
Okay, like the
going
overhead.
end over end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it turns out that was a dream.
Oh.
Oh, God.
So now we know where Christopher Nolan got his idea.
Yes.
What a giant
Yeah,
fucking ripoff.
She wakes up to the sound of the phone ringing and answers it. She says she had a nightmare, and she's like, and then I had a nightmare within the nightmare. Boom. Then, apparently, we're in reality.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm not entirely certain what was and what was not a dream. I'm almost thinking maybe the entire fucking movie has been a dream based on this logic.
I'm thinking, yeah, pretty much from everything from them leaving school onwards maybe has been a dream. It was Chris
Yes.
who lay down on the bed and we pause on for an awkwardly
Yes.
long time.
So that could be the entryway into the dream.
Yeah.
That's where the dream starts. And
Yep.
then from that to here
Yeah.
has all been a dream.
Yeah.
So, okay, that works. And then that's when we see Dr. Sickler pull up in the driveway.
I think so.
Yeah. And he's going to... But, Linda... That's right, because Linda comes out of the house for a moment, and the killer sneaks in.
Yeah,
And by the time
very
Linda turns back
obviously.
around,
He's
she
still
can
in frame.
clearly
Yeah.
see him, as well as see the door closing.
Yeah.
But she doesn't acknowledge either one of them. And then we just cut to what is clearly a shot that was recorded for a different scene entirely. We just cut to a shot of the killer holding a bloody scalpel
Yeah.
walking towards the camera, and then we hear like a scream off camera, hair metal music pops up, credits.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of the movie. Thoughts?
This is my watching it for this episode was, I believe, my 4th time watching this movie.
Are you shitting me? You've
No.
seen it more than I have.
Apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. When I first watched it, I watched it pretty much twice back to back. Like,
Because you finish it, and you're like, wait a minute.
no,
And
I
then you
watched.
finish it again, and you're like, I think so.
Basically, like, I finished it the first time. Like, I just randomly popped it in one night. I'm like, I'm bored. This is short. Fuck it.
Okay.
So I watch it, and then the next night, pretty much same scenario. You know what? That was fun. Think I'll give it another shot because I don't really get all of it. And so I watched it again, and then I watched it 3rd time a couple months ago, and then the 4th time just this past day.
I kind of get the feeling like this movie to you is what Don't Go in the Woods Alone is to me. Where it's like, fuck it, I'm going to have some beers and watch this.
Yeah. Given how short it is, and just how many entertaining type of moments there are in it, this is a lot of fun to sit through. Like I don't. It's not a good movie. It's not competent in the least bit.
Oh God, no.
But my God, is it fun?
This is such an oddball movie to
Yeah.
me for a few different reasons. It's amplified by the fact that it's taking place in a genre and it's taking place in an era on a format. I should really stress that because, in this time in the horror genre, there were plenty of VHS movies that were just as mind-bogglingly inept.
Yeah.
But this one shot on film in the late 80s.
For the majority of the movie.
Yeah, well, it's all shot on film.
Yeah.
We're just getting different source materials. Shot on film in the late 80s, slasher movie. All of those things combined, having it be this amateur and this inept
Yeah.
is very off-putting. Again, especially like I mentioned before, quality lighting, relatively decent audio.
Yeah.
It's just... It feels like it's kind of one of those things where it's like you get the feeling this is being made by some film study students
Yeah.
that are very learned in the technical parts of filmmaking,
Yeah.
lighting, camera stock, etc. But they're not very learned in how to tell a story.
Right.
And
Like they're working toward their film degrees, not their creative writing degrees.
yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. It's so fucked up in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It's like the movie gives me the feeling like I took a hit of acid that was also boring. Nothing major happens, but everything is very off-putting.
Yeah.
It's a constant fascination for me. I'm a really, really big fan of the slasher genre as a whole.
Ditto.
I can't count how many times I've watched Friday the 13th movies, Halloween movies. I know even going back to when I was in elementary school, I was so obsessed with slasher movies that my nickname for a while was Michael Myers. That's how obsessed I've been with slasher movies. And this one just kind of fascinates me. I don't think it's the worst slasher movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because if I'm considering the worst slasher movie I've ever seen, I'm considering like one that is just like it's like it feels like a homework assignment to sit through in terms of boredom.
Yeah.
For that, I'm going to go with one called The Prey. That is... it's fucking horrible. I think this is my third viewing now, and I think this is the viewing where I finally thought I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
I think the first viewing was when I first got the DVD, and then my second viewing I watched it with you while you were in the middle of falling asleep. And was that your first? I think that was your first viewing.
See, I don't remember. If that's the case, then I've seen this 5 times.
Or 4.5.
Yeah. If that's the case, then I've seen this 4 3/8 times.
It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. I can't. And would you like to know some trivia about this movie?
Yes.
Too bad.
I couldn't
got
find
nothing.
anything either.
I have nothing.
The director is credited on IMDb for one other movie.
And it was a short film, or like it was like just an hour long, and he shot only half of it.
Yeah.
Because from what I gathered, like half of it was shot in America, half of it was shot in Japan.
Yeah.
It was basically like a 50-50 anthology movie about romance, and he shot the America part.
Yeah.
I can't find a copy of that. I think the guy that plays Scott in the movie acted in a short that was only 15 minutes long. And
Yeah.
then, much like the director, who didn't do anything but after 1988 until 2002, this short came out in 2002. But outside of that, the director doing half of a movie in 2002, the guy that played Scott acting in a short in 2002, no one in this movie acted in another movie.
Yeah.
And I mean no one. None of the bit players have any credit to anything else. There's no trivia to be found about this movie. The fact that you found out that this was shot in Louisiana blew my mind. I couldn't find that out. There's nothing to be known about this.
Yeah, like pretty much the only trivia I could find was shot in Louisiana, director plays the killer. Like that's it.
That's basically it. That's pretty much all that there is.
Yeah.
The only stuff I can think of is...
And then the band was called First Strike or Fire Strike.
Yeah. Four Strike. I don't know.
Forrest Whitaker.
There you go. The only stuff I can mention, and this isn't going to mean shit to you because this is the audio process. You're not getting the visual here. But at one point, this was released in some foreign market.
Yeah.
And the foreign market poster was much more awesome looking than the American market poster. The American market poster is just an obvious ripoff of Slumber Party Massacre's poster.
Yeah.
Which I even found, I think in Germany they released this on DVD. The German DVD cover is just the Slumber Party Massacre cover, but they just wrote The Last Slumber Party over it. Like they just took the original picture from the Slumber Party Massacre poster and then just wrote Slumber Party. The Last Slumber Party over it, yeah. So I think that about covers everything.
Part of its intrigue is that it's kind of an enigma.
Yeah.
It's like you can't.
It's in the unknown.
Yeah.
I think that.
Like I think if like one day the news were to surface it, like, oh yeah, this was just a like a film like a project a bunch of film students were working on and blah blah. I think I would like the movie a lot less. Like part of it's because I know. Like,
okay. So just knowing anything about it would ruin it.
Possibly, I think.
I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to imagine, like,
where are they now?
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I remember seeing the VHS tape of this.
Yeah.
At a rental store when I was a kid. I can't remember exactly which one it was. In terms of rental stores.
Yeah.
I wish I grabbed it.
Yeah.
I've never saw this when I was a kid. This was not one that I rented, which is Actually, I was gonna say which is surprising, but no, I was so young, I would not have been able to slip this one past my parents. They would have seen the box art and they were like, "No fucking way are you watching this."
Yeah.
Okay, so that about wraps everything up for this episode. I have no idea where the hell we're gonna go for episode 5.
Yeah.
We may stay in horror, we may not. We may stay in the 80s, we may not. Who knows? It's a roll of the dice at all times. And by that, I mean Kevin at some point will call me and is like, "So what should we do for the next episode?" And I'll look at the list and I'll be like, that? Okay.
It's pretty much exactly how it goes.
So, for myself and for Kevin, this is a sign off.
Yeah.
Send me an angel.